Hey, I'm Jusko from ProbMoney.com, and in this video we are going to rank the American Express consumer cards from easiest approval to most difficult approval. But first, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not already, and if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So we did this a little while back with Chase, and I thought it might be interesting and fun to see how the American Express consumer cards stack up in terms of which ones are easiest to get and which are most difficult to get. We're going to look at only consumer cards, and we are not going to look at the co-brand cards, so no Hilton, no Delta, no Marriott, and we're also not going to look at the small business cards here. Now, when I think of the approval odds between American Express credit cards, if it comes to credit score, I don't necessarily think there is a whole lot of difference between most of their cards. If you're over 700, your approval odds are pretty decent with American Express. If you're between 650 and 700 in your credit score, you're kind of in a gray area. Below 650, most people are not going to get approved. However, where I think there is a difference is going to come down to the length of your credit history, perhaps your income, and then also to some extent the number of inquiries or new credit cards you have gotten over the last year or two. Now, that said, there is one card from American Express that is clearly going to be the easiest in terms of being approved for. That is the blue from American Express card, a card with no annual fee. It gives you rewards in the form of one membership rewards point per dollar spent on the card. It has a fairly high interest rate at 23.99%. There's no bonus on this card, so it's not a hugely desirable card. It doesn't have a lot of great stuff going on, which is why it would be the easiest to get. Now, the next easiest American Express card, and probably the easiest card that you would actually want from American Express, is the Amex Everyday card. No annual fee, 2 American Express membership rewards points per dollar. On grocery store purchases, 1 point per dollar everywhere else. You can get a 20% boost on those points if you use the card at least 20 times in a month. As I make this video, you could get a bonus of 10,000 points if you spent $1,000 in the first 3 months of having the card. So overall, not a whole lot that American Express is giving out with this card, which makes it easy for them to approve more people for it because they're not giving out a huge number of points. You have to use the card a lot if you want that extra boost. The bonus is really not all that big a deal compared to other American Express cards or other credit cards out on the market. So this would be the easiest of the cards that most people would actually even consider from American Express. Next up, the American Express Cash Magnet card, a no annual fee card giving 1.5% cash back on everything that you buy. There's a bonus opportunity as I make this video of $200 if you spend $1,000 with the card in the first 3 months of having it. Now, there are plenty of other 1.5% cashback cards out there on the market, and there are plenty of other cards that give you more than 1.5% cash back. So this card is not particularly competitive, or at least not overly competitive compared to other stuff out there on the market. And I would say that some people, if they are going to choose a 1.5% cashback card, they'd probably go with a MasterCard or Visa that they felt like they might get a little more wider acceptance out of. So this is not a card from American Express's end where they are being overly generous, and so it's probably a little easier to get yourself approved for. Now, the next card is where I think we increase the degree of difficulty of approval, and that is with the Blue Cash Everyday card, a no annual fee card that gives you 3% cash back on your grocery purchases from U.S. supermarkets, 2% back at gas stations, 2% back at select department stores, meaning not all department stores, 1% back everywhere else. As I make this video, there is the opportunity for a $250 bonus with this card if you can meet the minimum spend in the first few months. So I look at this card overall between that bonus and the fact that there is that enhanced 3% category on a no annual fee card. This is where American Express is going to look a little closer at you. Giving you 3% on groceries is very good on a no annual fee card in today's market, and they aren't going to want to approve people that have, maybe a little bit higher rate of defaults on the card if they're giving you 3% on those grocery purchases. The other things on this card are okay. But anyway, I think it's a step up in terms of who they want as a customer and who they're willing to accept as a customer versus those other cards that we already talked about. Next up, sort of middle of the pack, is the Amex Everyday Preferred Card, a card with a $95 annual fee versus that no annual fee Amex Everyday card that we already talked about. You get more if you pay this annual fee. You're getting 3 points per dollar on groceries, 2 points per dollar on gas purchases, 1 point per dollar everywhere else, but you can boost those point totals by 50% during the course of a month if you use the card at least 30 times during that month. Modest bonus on this card of 15,000 points, at least as I make this video, if you can meet the spend that is required over those first few months. So this is a card that is sort of in the middle. If you're someone that really knows your way around the Amex membership rewards points program, you could get a lot of value out of this card. And so American Express understands that some people really are going to rack up the points on this card, which means they are going to look a little closer at you. At the same time, they're not giving a huge bonus, and there is a $95 annual fee, which allows them to sort of recoup some of the things that you can get out of this card, which is why I put it sort of in the middle of the pack. Next up, as things get a little more difficult, is the Amex Green Card, the sort of base traditional Amex charge card, what some of us, back in the day used to think of as sort of the quintessential American Express card. But anyway, the Amex Green Card, $150 annual fee. You get points in the membership rewards points program, 3x at restaurants, 3 points per dollar on travel, 3 points per dollar on transit purchases, 1 point per dollar everywhere else. You have some extras on this card that are okay as well. A decent bonus, at least as I make this video. I'm seeing either 30,000 or 45,000 points potentially if you can spend enough in the first few months of having this card. So this card is okay. And again, if you're someone that really knows the membership rewards program and the travel and restaurant and transit purchases really kind of are in your wheelhouse in terms of your spending, well then maybe this is a card that is highly desirable to you. I think from American Express's end, this card is a little bit more difficult, obviously, because they're giving out a lot of points, but they're getting something back on the annual fee end, and it's not an overly generous card, so it's easily the easiest of the sort of traditional charge cards from American Express to get approved for, but more difficult than some of those other cards we just talked about. Next up, the Blue Cash Preferred Card. No annual fee first year, $95 annual fee every year. After that, this card used to have that $95 annual fee right from the beginning, so it's gotten even better with that first year free. 6% back on your grocery store purchases from U.S. supermarkets up to $6,000 in those purchases per year. 6% back on streaming services, 3% cash back on gas, 3% on transit purchases, 1% everywhere else. A pretty nice bonus as I make this video, $300, although it does require $3,000 worth of spend in the first few months in order to get that bonus. So a lot of good stuff going on here. You are getting 6% back on those supermarkets in particular is something where American Express is going to want to make sure that the people they are approving are not going to default on this card. So they are going to have a little bit higher standard, because obviously if you get this card, you're probably looking at that 6% on grocery store purchases, and you're probably going to try to max that out and get everything you can from it. And then the American Express Gold and the American Express Platinum cards are the same as far as I'm concerned. The most difficult cards to get, but neither one is more difficult than the other. If you can get approved for the Gold, you could get approved for the Platinum and vice versa. It's really a question of which one of those cards more matches your desires and your spending patterns. The American Express Gold, $250 annual fee. You're getting 4 membership rewards points per dollar on dining purchases, 4x on grocery purchases. You've got an Uber credit there. You've got another dining credit there, a big bonus on that card. So that is going to be more attractive to people that are going to spend more on sort of everyday purchases, where the American Express Platinum, bigger annual fee at $550. You're going to get 5 points per dollar on your airline purchases, 5 points per dollar on prepaid hotel purchases, and you are going to get access to the airport lounges, and you are going to get a bigger Uber credit and some other credits with that card, some travel insurances. So it's really a question of which one of those cards makes more sense for you, but I don't think either one of them is more easy or more difficult than the other, but both of them more difficult than all the other American Express cards. So that is how I rank them. Like I said earlier, there's not necessarily a huge difference across the spectrum in terms of credit score needed, but if you don't have as much of a credit history or you don't have enough of an income for American Express to see you as a highly desirable card holder, well then you could be shut out from some of those cards, especially the gold or platinum card, where they are probably going to give higher credit lines and there's no preset spending limit. If you don't have much of a credit history, they don't feel like you have enough income to justify those cards, well then you could get shut out even if your credit score is fine. But in terms of credit score, probably from the blue cash every day all the way up to the platinum, almost no difference in terms of what American Express is probably looking for there. So I would love to hear your rankings, what you have found to be more difficult or less difficult from American Express. Put those in that comments section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. And as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews, we talk personal finance, talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. Thank you for watching. Bye.